So, once again, welcome all of you to the sixth session of research discussion on graphs and groups. May I request Professor Ampad Vijay Kumar to introduce the speaker?
I'm extremely happy to introduce the speaker of this day, Dr. Sudeep Bera from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. He is a postdoc there after completing his PhD from Vishwabharati, West Bengal. We have, during May, 4 speakers talking on various aspects of groups and graphs, very promising young researchers, 4 of them. They will cover almost all aspects of powers, graphs, and groups. So I invite Sudeep Bera to start his talk. Sudeep.
So the title of my talk is on enhanced power graphs of finite groups. So this is joint work with my PhD supervisor, Anjan Kumar Bhuiya. So in this talk, our goal is we explain some basic properties of enhanced power graph. For example, when the enhanced power is complete, when this graph is bipartite graph or tree, when this graph is Eulerian, and when this graph is planar, also when the graph is dominatable. So before that, we want to say something about power graph. So, so the deducted power graph was introduced by Kelaroff and Quinn in the context of semigroup theory, and they defined that the two vertices U and V are adjacent. I mean U to V, there is an edge between U to V if and only if V equal to E power M. Then chain goes introduce the undirected power graphs on a group. They define as let G be a finite, let G be a group. Then the power graph PG of G is a simple graph whose vertex set is G and two distinct vertices U and V are edge connected. If and only if either EM power EM equal to V or Vn equal to M. That means either either V belongs to the cyclic subgroup generated by U, or U belongs to cycle generated by V. Then there are lots of paper on this power graph. For example, about connectivity, there are some reference, and also for isolation theorem or dominatability, everything. There's lots of paper. So then let G be a group. Then the commutating graph of G denoted by CG is the simple graph whose vertex set is non-central line of G and two distinct vertices E and V are adjacent if and only if UV equal to VU. Then, so clearly, if two vertices X and Y are joined in the power graph, then either X power M equal to Y or Y power N equal to X. Then clearly, in both of the cases, XY equal to YX. So if X and Y are joined in the power graph, then they are joined in the commutating graph. So the authors, I mean Alipe, Akbari, Cameron, Nikambis, and Sebesi, they want to measure how to close the power graph and the commutating graph, and they introduce a new graph called the enhanced power graph. So let G be a group. Then the enhanced power graph of G denoted by GEG is the graph whose vertex set is G and two vertices U and V are joined if and only if there exists another element W such that U and V belongs to, I mean U equal to double power N and V equal to double power M. That means cyclic subgroup generated by U and cyclic subgroup generated by V both belong to the cyclic subgroup generated by W. So from the definition, it is clear that a power graph, in the power graph, if you consider the group Z6, then in case of power graph, their 2 bar and 3 bar are not adjacent. But in the enhanced power graph, 2 bar 3 are adjacent. Okay. So first of all, from the definition of enhanced power graph, it is clear that E, the identity element of the group G, is adjacent to all of the vertices. So the graph is connected. But the next natural question is that when the graph is complete. So this theorem gives the answer. I mean, the enhanced power graph of a group G is complete if and only G is cyclic. So first, if G is cyclic, then suppose G equal to some generated by some element A. So if you choose two elements X and Y, then X equal to some f over n and y equal to some f over n. So x and y belongs to the cyclic generated by A. So if it is cyclic, then any two vertices of the graph is connected. So the graph is complete. Conversely, suppose that the graph is complete. We prove that the group is cyclic. First, suppose that group is not, suppose G is not cyclic, and let an element X, which is maximum order in the group G, and consider the cyclic subgroup H united by X. So clearly G not equal to H, as G is not cyclic but H is cyclic. So there is at least one element Y which is belongs to G but not in H. So since the graph is complete, so X adjacent to Y in G implies that there exists another element Z such that X and Y belongs to cyclic subgroup generated by Z. So since order of X is maximum, so cyclic subgroup generated by X equal to cyclic subgroup generated by Z. So as Y belongs to cyclic subgroup generated by Z, so Y belongs to X. That is a contradiction. So the graph is cyclic. So a group is cyclic. Next we want to tell about the when the graph is bipartite or when the graph is tree. So for that, we first we know that a graph which is bipartite if and only if the graph contains graph have no odd cyclic. Also a graph is tree if and only it has no cycles. So for that, we first characterize when the graph, inverse power graph, contains a cycle. The inverse power of G of the group G contains a cycle if and only if the order of A greater equal to 3 for some A belongs to G. So if there is a element A whose order greater equal to 3, then we draw a cycle. E, A, and A square. They generate a cycle. Okay. So conversely, consider there is no element of order greater equal to 3. All the order of all the element or each element of the group G either 1 or 2. So this is a set of order of element of group G. It's 1 and 2. Order of each element either 1 or 2. So in this case, clearly G is isomorphic to Z2 plus Z2 plus Z2. So the graphs now for every A belongs to G, GNA, the set of generator of the cyclic subgroup generated by A. This is the GNA. So element is 2. So GNA contains exactly one element. So the graphs is each adjacent to all other vertices, and all other vertices of degree 1. So they are adjacent only the vertex identity. So the graphs which looks like a star graph. Okay. So from the previous lemma, we can say that let G be a group in the following condition are equivalent. So G is bipartite graph, then G is tree, and G is isomorphic to Z2 plus Z2 plus Z2, and G is star graph. Since G is isomorphic to Z2 plus Z2 plus Z2, then only identity adjacent to all other vertices, and all other vertices are adjacent only to the identity. So no two vertices of order 2 is adjacent. So this theorem. Next, okay. So in here I want to say that when the inverse power graph is Eulerian. So we know that a graph is Eulerian if and only if degree of each of the vertices is even. So using this theorem, we can say that let G be a group of order n. Then the inverse power graph of group is Eulerian if and only if n is odd. So let me explain the proof of idea. First, okay. Suppose the graph is Eulerian. Then we know that the degree of the identity vertex is n-1. So since the graph is Eulerian, so degree of E also is even. That means n-1 is also even. So n is odd. So one part is trivial. So suppose that okay. So suppose that n is odd. Now so that the graph is Euler. I mean, I want to say that the degree of each vertices is even. We have to show that the degree of each vertex is even. So first we consider the identity element. So you know that the degree of the identity element is n minus 1. Since n is odd, so n minus 1 is even. So degree of the identity element is even. Now we show that the degree of each non-identity element is even. So first we use this thing Gen(x). Gen(x) means the set of all generators of the cyclic subgroup generated by A. So clearly this is a clique. I mean this is a complete subgraph. I mean all the vertices in this set form a complete subgraph. Okay. Next, if you choose A prime and B prime, any two vertices of the graph, and choose X belongs to Gn A prime and Y belongs to Gn B prime. If there is at least one element in Gn A prime, suppose X is one element and Y be another element, and let X and Y adjacent, then all the vertices in Gn A prime is connected to the each vertices in the Gn B prime. Next, okay, so clearly since Gen X is the collection of all generator of the cyclic subgroup generated by X, so clearly Gen X contains phi of order of X vertices of vertices. Okay, and okay, so if we choose any element non-identity element A, then A is adjacent to the generator of the cyclic subgroup generated by A except itself. For that's why I here minus 1. I mean, and also is it I mean degree of each non-identity element looks like this form. I mean this is for the this adjacent to the all vertices, I mean all generators of the cyclic subgroup generated by A minus itself plus all other generators and plus identity. So after manipulation, the order of each vertices, each non-identity vertices, degree of each non-identity vertices looks like this sum phi of order A plus phi of order x1 for sum x1, x2, xm belongs to the group G. Since n is odd, so order of each element is odd, and phi of all of this equal to even. So sum of this is even. So degree of any non-identity element is even. So get now. Okay. So next interesting property is that when the Ernst Park is planar. So we know that a graph is planar if and only if either it does not contain neither the K33 nor the graph K5. So using this theorem we will prove this theorem. I mean G be a group, then the Ernst Park of G is planar if and only if order of the element of the group G must belongs to this set 1, 2, 3 or 4. So suppose first order of X there is at least one element X such that order of X is equal to 5. Then we can take 5 elements from the cyclic subgroup generated by X and they form a clique. So we get a K5. So this is not a planar in this case. Okay. So next, so to be planar, this graph, the order of the each element of the group G must be 1, 2, 3 or 4. Okay. So suppose that order of the each element of the group G is 1, 2, 3 or 4. Then if you take A and B, any two arbitrary element such that order of equal 2 and order of equal 3, then A and B is not it's connected in the group in the graph GEG, as there is no element of order 6k. I mean if A and B is connected, then A, B must belongs to the cyclic subgroup generated by some element Z. Okay, but as order of A equal 2 and order equal 3, they are prime, square prime, then A does not, no, it is not possible. And there is no element of order 6k also. So A and B is connected. Similarly, order of x1 equal to 4 and order of x equal to 3, there is also these two vertices are not connected. So only the vertices, I mean, so the so each 4 order, I mean, if x be a element of order 4, then form a complete subgraph. Also, if there is suppose there are m distinct cyclic subgroup order 4, then they are disjoint clique. There are no edge connected. So using this argument, we can say that there is no K3 or K5. So we can say that the graph is planar if and only element of order of each element of the group G must be 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay. So next,
Sudeep, excuse me.
yes.
Do you have any cases for any results for other topological aspects like toroidal or something like that?
But, I have not studied yet, but it is interesting. Might be interesting. I mean, in case of one graph, I saw for intersection graph, some authors studied the projective or something like they studied. But in case of NS graph, there are, I have no idea.
Are there any results like that? Because your proof depends heavily on the fact that minimum degree is at most 5, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Next one is the okay. So dominative NS paragraphs. So a vertex of a graph gamma is called dominating vertex if it adjacent to all other vertices of gamma. And the NS paragraph is so we know that already we know that the identity element E is adjacent to all other vertices. So you can say that E is a dominating vertex. But the next natural question is there any other vertex except identity element who join to all other vertices? I mean, we call an NS paragraph G is dominatable if it has a dominating vertex other than the identity element. Okay, so our first result is this. Let G be a finite group and n belongs to n. If GCD of order of G and n equal 1, then the NS power graph of the group G cross Zn is dominatable. I mean, there is a vertex, non-identity vertex, which is adjacent to all other vertices. So I give the proof also. So I want to show that EA, the vertex EA, is a dominating vertex of the graph G of the NS power graph of the group G cross Zn, where E is the identity element of the group G and A is the generator of the group Zn, cyclic group Zn. So first okay, G comma A prime is any arbitrary element. We show that G comma A prime is connected to EA. So first we prove this theorem step by step. So first we consider the case G equal to E. I mean, first we show that E comma A prime is connected to EA. I mean, it is trivial, as A is a generator of the cycle Zn and A prime is any other element and E is same. So we can show that E comma A prime is belongs to the cycle generated by EA. So this is connected. Okay. So next case is so that G not equal to E, but A prime equal to 0. I mean, 0 is the 0 bar. I mean, identity of the group Zn. So we show that G comma 0. Okay. We show that G0 is connected to EA. So from the definition of NS paragraph, we have to show that G comma 0 and EA belongs to some cycle subgroup. I mean, here I show that G comma 0 EA belongs to this cycle subgroup. Okay. So so first let order of G equal to M. Since E comma A M equal to G comma A power whole M, as order of G equal to M, so this is identity, so this is equal to this, and this belongs to this cycle subgroup. Now GCD of order G and N equal to 1. This implies that GCD of M and N equal to 1. So we consider cycle subgroup EA, and the generator of the cycle subgroup is this. Now E comma AM, okay, E comma AM equal to E comma A whole power M. and since GCD of m equal to 1, we can say that this is a generator of the cycle of this. So you can say that E comma A belongs to E comma A power m. Okay. So okay. So E power A E comma A power m belongs to this cycle subgroup, and E comma A belongs to this. So you can say that E comma A belongs to this. So you are done. I mean, if the A prime equal 0 and G not equal to E, then we can say that G comma 0 and E comma A is S connected. Next is okay. So okay. So next we show that if G not equal to identity and A prime also non-zero, the most general case, we show that G comma A prime and E comma A belongs to GA. So we already proved that G comma 0 belongs to GA and E comma A belongs to GA. Also, A is the generator, so E comma A prime belongs to this cycle subgroup, and this belongs to GA. And so G comma A prime is equal to G comma 0 and G comma A. So from this we can show that G comma A prime belongs to this. Okay, so we are done. I mean, E comma A is a dominating vertex. So this graph is dominatable. Now for the case of abelian group. So in this case, let G be a finite abelian group. Okay, then the nth paragraph of the group G is dominatable. Okay. If and only if G has a cyclic Silo subgroup. Okay, so I also give the idea of the proof of this theorem also. So first, show that suppose G has a Silo subgroup which is cyclic, and let it be P, and order P equal to P bar m. So we can write G equal to H cross Z P bar m, where H is a subgroup of the group G and GCD of order by P m equal to 1. So by the previous theorem, we can say that G is dominatable. By the previous theorem, I can say that G is dominatable. Conversely, okay, so conversely, let G is dominatable. We show that the G has a cyclic Silo subgroup. First, we let the G has no cyclic Silo subgroup. Since this is abelian, we can write G equal to this. And since G has no cyclic Silo subgroup, so we can write for each Ki get equal to 2, and we arrange this thing ascending order. So okay. Now let V equal to x P1 T1 x P1 TK1 x P2 and so on. It's a dominating vertex and which is non-zero. Then we consider another element 0 0 and G P1 T1 K1 G P2 and so on, where these are the generator of the cyclic subgroup ZPI TKI KJ for each Ki belongs to R. I mean, this is a maximum order element. Since V is a dominating vertex, so V is adjacent to this vertex V prime. Okay, so so V is a maximum. So since this is a maximum order element and V is adjacent to V prime, so we can write V belongs to this cyclic subgroup, as V prime is the maximum order cycle subgroup, maximum order element, and so the maximum order cycle subgroup. Okay, so since V belongs to this, so V equals some K into V prime. That means as these are 0, so we can write that all these are 0 in the V. Similarly, these are 0, so these are 0, and so on. Now we show that these xp1 t1 k1, xp2 tk2, and xp tr kr also 0. We show that. Okay. So first let xp1 t1 k1 is non-zero. Then we consider another vertex v1, which is x, 0, 0, 0, 0, where x belongs to zp1 tk1 t1 k1 with order of x equal to p1. Okay. So clearly p1 divides order of the vertex v. Okay. Okay. So since v is a dominating vertex, so v also adjacent to v1. Okay. So this implies that V1 belongs to cyclic subgroup generated by V. So V1 equal to sum L into V. Now the first part of the vertex B is 0. So L into 0 equal to 0. So this part of this part 0, but we let order is equal to P1. So it's a contradiction. So this must be 0. Similarly, you can say that this must be 0, this must be 0. So V is a 0 vertex, but we first assume that this is non-zero. So a contradiction. So G must have a cyclic Sylow subgroup. Okay. So next, the case of non-abelian P group. Let G be a non-abelian P group. Then the N paragraph of GEG is dominatable if and only if this generalized quadrant group. Okay. So suppose that G generalized quadrant group. So G is 2 group and G has a unique minimal subgroup. So let H be the unique minimal subgroup. Clearly order is equal to 2. And let Y be any other vertex. Since G is 2 group, order of Y equal to what P. And okay, so cyclic subgroup generated by Y must contain an element of order 2. Since this is the unique element of order 2, so X must belongs to this cyclic subgroup generated by Y. So X and Y adjacent. So X is a dominating vertex of the group generalized quadrant group. Conversely, let the inner product of GEG has a dominating vertex which is not equal to identity. We show that G is generalized quadrant group. Okay. So first, we show that every element of order P belongs to the subgroup generated by X. I mean X. Okay. So since X is dominating vertex. Okay. Okay. So any V belongs to G of order P. Since X is dominating vertex, so V and X is connected. So there is a cyclic subgroup C such that Vx belongs to C. Okay. Since C is of G is P group, so C also P group. So we can say that order of V. We can say that V belongs to the cyclic subgroup generated by X. So each element of order P must belongs to the cyclic subgroup generated by X. So G has a unique cyclic subgroup order P, but we know that if G has a unique subgroup, G is a P group, and G has a unique subgroup order P. If P is odd prime, then G must be cyclic. But here we assume that G is non-abelian, so G must be a even prime. So G is generalized quadrant group. I mean G is 2 group and G has a unique minimal subgroup. Okay. So finally, I
have a question.
Sorry?
Yeah, I have a question regarding
yes.
theorem.
Okay.
And in the last theorem, it was given that the N-square graph is dominatable. Dominatable P for P groups. It's dominatable if and only if it's generalized quadrant. So what happens in case of maybe nilpotent groups, like direct sum of three groups where none of them are cyclic? If any of them is cyclic, then it's dominatable by some previous theorem. So what happens for denial nilpotent groups? Is there any effect?
Actually, in case of general nilpotent group, we are trying, but we have no result right now.
Yeah.
Can I add something here, please?
Yes.
There is a little bit more known about this question, and I learned this from Alireza Abdullahi, who's going to be talking later on in the seminar. But the set of vertices that dominate the enhanced power graph was already studied before under the name of the cyclicizer of the group. It's a subgroup. And there's a construction for it. What you do is you take all of the primes P for which the Silov P subgroups of G are cyclic or generalized quaternion, and you take these subgroups and you intersect them with the center of G, and you take the product of all those central subgroups. So it's a subgroup of the center of G generated by the intersections of the center with the cyclic or generalized quaternion subgroups.
Oh.
Right, so this was originally in a technical report, which I had not actually seen, but I think Alireza claims to have seen it, from, I'll just see if I can find the date. Where are we? 1991. But you may find it might be easier to look up. There are two papers by Abdullahi and Hassan Abadi on the what he calls the non-cyclic graph of the group. So this is exactly the complement of the enhanced power graph. And they have a paper in the Communications in Algebra and another in the Journal of Algebra and Applications. And these references are in that manuscript of mine, so you can find them there.
So finally, okay. So I will state this theorem only. I omit the proof also. So there's a connection between the maximal clique and maximal cyclic subgroup. I mean, let G be a finite abelian group. Then the vertices of a maximal clique in G form a maximal cyclic subgroup of G, and conversely. Okay. So I omit the proof in this case, and these are the references.
The forum is now open for discussions. Anyone
So
have any suggestions or questions? Yes.
I have a couple of questions, if I may. So that last theorem that you stated and didn't prove, that presumably tells you that the clique number is equal to the maximum order of an element. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's interesting. But the other thing I wanted to ask about was, can you go back to theorem 7? Okay, so the enhanced power graph is Eulerian if and only if the group order is odd. But I thought you told us that if you take a cyclic group, then its enhanced power graph is complete. And isn't the complete graph Eulerian?
Sorry.
If G is a cyclic group of order n,
Yes.
then the enhanced power graph is complete.
Yes.
Right? You told us that right at the start. But the complete graph is Eulerian, no matter whether n is even or odd. Isn't that right?
Yes.
So,
But
I believe
no, I
this
think
theorem
odd
one-
order complete graphs are not Eulerian. I mean,
graph is
even
Euler.
order.
Oh,
Even order.
of course.
odd order.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, you're quite right. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's my questions. Thank you.
okay.
Yeah, I have another one. Can you please go back to the previous theorem, maybe 6, where you showed that the tree. I mean,
Yeah.
So in the last one, if
Yes.
it contains an element of order 3 or more than 3, then it has a cycle.
Yes.
So in that case, you took the complete enhanced power graph. So in that case, if you have taken the latter one, I mean, the enhanced power graph without the identity element, the induced power, then what would be the limit? I mean, if it's greater than 4, then one side happens.
Okay. So basically, you are saying when we remove the identity element.
Yeah.
So,
Then what happens in the case of cycles? I mean,
if there is at least one element, no. If there is at least one element of order 4,
then we can find a cycle. That's it.
okay.
Does the converse hold?
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Yes.
In theorem 10, in slide 14, I think that you must here indicate that the cyclic, a non-trivial cyclic CLU is better because always cyclic CELO subgroups. You can say that any trivial subgroup is a CELO subgroup.
Of course, non-trivial.
Yes, it has a non-trivial
Yes.
cyclic CELO subgroup is better.
So the previous question was if I think it is if and only if. Otherwise, if each sub or of each element is greater less equal to 3, then it does not have any cycle.
Okay, I mean, in case of the other type of Reynolds problem, that also it's if and only.
I didn't follow your proof exactly, but in a always non-trivial cyclic CELO subgroup is a non-trivial things. So if you say we have a cyclic CELO subgroups, it's always true.
Yeah, so always non-trivial.
Yes, yes. You must indicate that it is non-trivial.
Okay, yes.
Sudeep, do we have any results on fixing some graph parameters for the enhanced power graph? For example, I want the enhanced power graph to have domination number, say k.
Actually, we are working on domination number, diameter, all these things of the Reynolds power graph, and also the deleted Reynolds power graph. I mean, deleting all the dominating vertices.
Okay, so you will concentrate on some fixed parameters, right?
Yes.
I see. Okay.
This is Gavaskar. Excuse me, can I ask some question?
Yeah.
The projection. Why you started for finding this domination number of the particular this power graph is equal to 1? That is actually what you are saying that which is dominatable, isn't it?
So can you please repeat your question?
No. See, the dominatable means the domination number of the corresponding graph is 1.
Actually, the identity element is adjacent to all the vertices. So E always dominating vertex, but
no, you know that the definition of domination number is the minimum. It is as you know the definition of the domination number. Okay, in that case, the domination number of the your dominatable graph is equal to 1. Is it clear?
Yes.
Once more.
Sorry.
Dominatable, if and only if. That definition of dominatable, you please show once again. That slide.
Yes.
This dominating other than E.
You have to take out the identity.
That's not what Gavaskar told.
No. Okay. So whatever it may be, in that case, the domination number is equal to 1. Yeah, I will recall the definition of the domination number.
That's okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is the minimum cardinality of this? Where
So.
Yeah. Can I say the definition? Can I tell the definition, or you know that? So the the domination number is the minimum cardinality of S, where S is the dominating set in the graph.
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, you are saying your graph is dominatable. There is a vertex which is dominating vertex. That means the domination number is equal to 1 in this case.
Yes. It's not the identity.
Yeah. Okay.
Not
so
identity. Okay, not identity.
Sorry.
Gavaskar, there is something more. Domination number is already 1 because that identity element gives you that. So this requires something more. There is a dominating set of cardinality 1 other than that identity element.
Yes, so to make a good question, you should leave out the identity and ask for the dominating number of the.
So always, okay,
graph.
so in the enhanced power graph, always domination number is equal to always 1.
Yes.
Yes.
Because the identity element is there.
So once if you remove the identity, then the problem is interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So there is one concept in one more concept, the packing number. Have you heard about packing number? 2 packing. So that means I will recall the definition of 2 packing. A set of elements or set of vertices in the graph is said to be 2 packing. You take any 2 of them, they are a closed neighbor, they are disjoint. Can I repeat once again the definition?
Yes.
Yeah. 2 packing number is the maximum cardinality of S such that S is the two packing set of the graph. Two packing means collection of vertices. You take any two of the vertices, they are closed neighbor, they are disjoint.
Okay.
Why I'm saying means this is always two packing number always less than or equal to the domination number. Okay, there is a close relation between these two because if these two are coincide or the difference is at most 1, then it's satisfying our Weissin conjecture. One of the very famous conjecture in graph theory. Okay, maybe you can in the enhanced power graph you remove our age, you remove our identity, and then find the domination number and then packing number. If once these two are equal or the difference is at most 1, then we can conclude that so these graphs satisfying our Weissin conjecture. So that might be interesting.
Interesting.
So in that case, you can ignore our identity because identity, as you know, the domination number is equal to 1. In that case, your packing number is also 1, two packing number. So therefore, you just ignore the identity and then consider the subgraph of the enhanced power graph and then try to find out these two parameters. You can relate those things. Okay, that's all. Okay, thank you.
Anything more? Anyone wants to add something or ask some new queries?
Okay, I have one question.
Please go ahead.
In the case of power graphs, as earlier said, we remove the identity element and there is a definition of super power graph. Is there any definition like a super enhanced power graph or any study about super enhanced power graph like that?
I think no. I don't know.
What do you mean by super enhanced power? Yeah, we didn't get.
Removing the vertex corresponding to the identity element. I assume that is what Sriraj wants. Consider the graph and remove the identity element. Vertex corresponding to the identity element.
Yes, correct. Yes, right.
No, after reviewing identity also, not only, after reviewing all the dominating vertices, we already studied about the connectivity or something like that. And the next speaker, third week, Hiran will deliver all these things.
Is there any specific name for such graphs?
It's proper enhanced power graph. We call it the proper enhanced power graph or deleted enhanced power graph.
Anyone else? Okay, so I assume that there are no further questions. May I now call upon Dr. Savita K.S., Principal, St. Paul's College, Kalamassery, to officially propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Aparna. We had a session on enhanced power graphs on this workshop in the current session. And thank you, Sudeep, for you have very in detail, you have explained how the proof of each result you have quoted over there. I think it was very helpful for the participants because it started from the scratch. So that got a real idea how to prove a particular result, in particular these areas. So thank you so much. And I thank all the participants who have contributed a lot through their discussions. And thank you all once again. Let me conclude. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So with this, we are concluding day 6. The next session will be on coming Wednesday. Ranjit Mehtari will be talking on forbidden subgraphs of power graphs. See you all. Thank you.
See you. Bye. Thank you.